YouTube, it's finally that time. You guys have been asking me to do the head-to-head between the S22 Ultra and the Note 20 Ultra. This is for my Note fans. Once a Note user, always a Note user, period. All right, let's get straight to the nitty-gritty. This is actually a straightforward comparison, few specific spectacles, and then we'll just like round it out with the truth and the honest, harsh reality of comparing these two models. Number one, the S22 Ultra is slightly heavier. So that's something to think about. But to be honest, feeling these two in hand, I don't really feel the difference that much. And you know, that's all followed by the same water resistant specs and things like that. But one place these two do differ, especially for my Note users out there, is in the S Pen. The S Pen responsiveness has dramatically improved in comparison from this Note 20 Ultra stylus into the S22 Ultra. So we're talking about going from a 9 millisecond latency on the Note 20 Ultra all the way down to a 2.8 millisecond latency with the S22 Ultra. That's a phenomenal increase, and that's a huge gap in between the two S Pens. So if you're big on the S Pen, if you write a lot of notes, and if you're looking for that more improved, realistic writing experience, definitely gonna find that a little bit more apparent on the S22 Ultra. But is that enough to upgrade? Let's get into some more differences between the two. Another big difference between these two devices is gonna be display. Now this is somewhere where things get a little sticky, because honestly, when the Note 20 Ultra came out, I was hoping for the 120 hertz to be available at 1440p, the Quad HD resolution, the highest resolution, which I switch all of my Samsung devices to because I want to experience the screen that I paid for. Okay, so between these two devices, a big difference in display is gonna be where you get your 120 hertz refresh rate. Now, beautifully on the S22 Ultra, you will get it in Quad HD. And it's a variable LTPO display, which means it drops the refresh rate when necessary to help preserve battery. Now, the same thing is similarly kind of true on the Note 20 Ultra, except it's only available in full HD. For all of my Samsung Knights and Samsung users, or just typical smartphone users out there that want to use their device at the higher resolution, you're gonna sacrifice resolution with the Note 20 Ultra, especially if you want to go with 120 hertz refresh rate. Now, is 120 hertz refresh rate a necessity? Not necessarily, but in today's day and age, it's the status quo. It's the typical, especially in flagship smartphones. If I had the option, I would go more for the Quad HD. That's just me personally. I enjoy 120 hertz refresh rate. Some people may or may not. Some people may not care. Pick what you like. Now, there's another last key difference in display between these two, because on the S22 Ultra this year, Samsung brought us a whopping 1750 nit max peak brightness display. So yes, the S22 Ultra is brighter in display brightness than the Note 20 Ultra, if that matters to you. Now let's talk about operating system, because the fact that you're getting Android 12 right out the bat with the S22 Ultra with a promise of up to, I believe, 4 years of major OS updates, and that's to be paired with 5 years of security patches and things of that nature. Now, the Note 20 Ultra is an older device, and that whole support timeline is a lot slimmer. So in short, you're just gonna get a longer window of support with the S22 Ultra than you will with the Note 20 Ultra, as it's been out since 2020. So the clock is already ticking. Now let's get into another significant difference. If you look at the top of this Note 20 Ultra, where you go to put in your SIM card, there's also a micro SD card slot support tray, which is something that we're not seeing with the S22 Ultra. So what does that mean? You have to spend more to get more in storage. So basically, in the past, when we had micro SD card expansion capabilities, you can buy the base model, you know, flagship or like a mid-tier, and then just upgrade it with micro SD card storage, which is a lot cheaper and more cost efficient. One positive note, the internal storage is way faster than micro SD storage could ever be. But the fact of the matter is, If you take away the micro SD card slot, the people who need more storage have to spend more. You're forced to spend more in order to get the storage capacity that you would need in the S22 Ultra. Something to really think about in between these two devices, especially to my Note fans who are upgrading. Pick your storage carefully. Now let's talk cameras and camera quality. Now I did go outside and I did a couple of tests between these two real quick, just whip them out and use them as if someone normally would. All right, so the battle of the Notes, the new Note and the old Note. This is the front-facing camera. Got the Note, what's this, right here? Yeah, Note 20 Ultra right here in the flesh, and then the S22 Ultra. Both front-facing cameras, rear-facing cameras. As you can see, we're just gonna shoot this setup right here. S22 Ultra versus the Note 20 Ultra rear cameras. Y'all let me know if y'all see a difference and whatnot. Now this was at sunset, so now we really pushing these sensors because it's not in the most ideal situation. Now I'm gonna snap a couple photos and videos here in this more ideal situation. You can look at those in comparison as well. One thing I definitely wanna note in camera differences between these two cameras is the selfie camera. All right, so we're finna do a selfie test between these two. All right, bam. It's kind of aimed at me. I don't know, kind of so-so. We're gonna see. You know, it's not easy to do this. All right, let me do a front-facing video really quick. All right, y'all, we are testing the Note 20 Ultra versus the S22 Ultra front-facing camera video. Boom! Rear-facing camera on the Note 20 Ultra versus the S22 Ultra. Pick your choice. Hit the comment section down below. So when it comes to camera quality, hands down, I gotta give it to the S22 Ultra. Not saying that the Note 20 Ultra isn't good. It was better than that S20 Ultra nonsense garbage, but Samsung learned the lesson that year, in the year that the Note 20 Ultra came out, and they made a lot of improvements for the upcoming camera houses, which are in the S21 Ultra and now the S22 Ultra. So if you're into cameras, video quality, and photo quality, S22 Ultra hands down. Now, something we gotta talk about, fingerprint sensors. The fingerprint sensor on the Note 20 Ultra is not as good. So if you're big into biometrics and you use fingerprint sensors to log into your device, you're gonna wanna go with the S22 Ultra for a more pleasant experience. Case in point, I'm gonna show you guys on the Note 20 Ultra, it's just, I'm locked out of this thing. So, there you go. Now, S22 Ultra, first try, we in there. End of discussion. Next up, let's talk battery. Now, battery life is always subjective. I can't just give my personal experience and expect that to be the end all be all when it comes to battery. Neither can your experience be the end all be all. We all do different things with our smartphones, so take that into consideration always. Now, the Note 20 Ultra, 4,500 milliamp hour battery versus the S22 Ultra's 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Now, in my previous video on the S22 Ultra, I just brought up what I seen in the comments. Some people complain about the S22 Ultra, but if you look in those comments as well, a lot of people appreciate and are getting great battery life out of the S22 Ultra. And I think it was kind of somewhat similar with the Note 20 Ultra as well. It's always subjective to the user. Now also, in the case of the S22 Ultra, people have to understand there's an algorithm in these smartphones that learns your patterns over time and makes some adjustments to kind of like auto-optimize to give you a better battery life based on your usage. So use your S22 Ultra a little longer before yelling that the battery is not good. And then after using it for about a week or two, and if it's not so good, then hey, it's not right for you. But nevertheless, between these two devices, I still get decent battery no matter which device I'm using. I'm not a heavy phone addict, but I do use my devices and I get decent battery, and that's about the end of the discussion that I can give you on battery life. So you gotta test and use it yourself. For my Note 20 Ultra people coming to the S22 Ultra, for some of you, that battery growth of 500 milliamp hours, you're gonna see it and feel it. Some of y'all are just, you know, obsessive on your devices and no phone will satisfy you. All right. Last and final discussion is user experience. When it comes to these two devices, user experience is everything. And as a Galaxy Note user, my user experience is pleasant in between these devices, but I have to be honest, it's better for me personally, on the S22 Ultra because of certain specific things that I look for. Notice I'm putting emphasis on me. Like the Quad HD 120Hz LTPO variable refresh display. I needs that. I wants that. And then there's the other things like the more responsive S Pen. I'm big in S Pen. I use the S Pen to navigate my devices. Whether I'm on this one or this one, I got the S Pen out and that's how I navigate. That's how I get precision typing and marking and flipping and all that. S Pen, okay? Another check in the favor of the S22 Ultra for me. Now the battery is bigger on the S22 Ultra. By 500 milliamp hours, not that big. You know, it's a smudge. Tit for tat, to be honest there. The display brightness, when it comes to being outside in the sun, I do that a lot. I was out the other day taking photos of my vehicle because I just put some wheels on there. Yo, video coming in the future. I can't show y'all the photos. I will show you the photos and the video from the device now, but I have to show you later because you guys can't see what the wheels look like. Or shit, I can watch the video. But I was out there in direct sunlight taking photos of the car, and I needed that extra screen brightness. I had to slide that slider just to come in clutch so that I could see. It's hard to see these smartphone displays in direct sunlight, and we typically are out there in the sun trying to take photos. Plus in the favor of the S22 Ultra for me, personally, me. Oh, and speaking of cameras, that's another place where the S22 Ultra takes the crown for me. That 40 megapixel front-facing camera, that seals the deal. I just have grown to enjoy what I get out of that 40 megapixel selfie camera and having it on the S21 Ultra and now the S22 Ultra. And I don't think I wanna go back. Now, when it comes to the rear-facing cameras, I mean, you know, tit for tat. Nevertheless, I think you're gonna get better photos and video overall performance on the S22 Ultra. I mean, it is the later device. But you guys can look at the footage and be the judge in that regard. Now, when it comes to the lack of micro SD card slot, that's where, you know, the Note 20 Ultra can pull on my nostalgic strings because that's nostalgia. The micro SD card slot is a thing of the past, and I know some of you guys are just, I can't go without it. At the end of the day, with the way things are moving forward, you basically gotta pay more to get more in storage. Unfortunately, at this point in time, when it comes to Samsung flagship devices of the future. For my Note 20 Ultra users, it depends on how much of a technology snob are you. As far as should you upgrade to the S22 Ultra. For someone out there who's shopping in between these two as the device and they don't own either, S22 Ultra is gonna give you a better experience, a longer support lifeline, and I just think it's ideal. Now granted, if you got a A1 deal budget-wise and your budget is pointing you here, well obviously your budget has made the decision. We gotta be financially literate and responsible out here. But nevertheless, between these two devices, my vote is in favor of the S22 Ultra. It's very reminiscent of that Note 10 Plus. If you're coming from a Note 10 Plus, S22 Ultra. As I said, if budget is not an issue and you're looking to jump into the future, I think S22 Ultra checks a lot of boxes of giving you that more current experience. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Whatever suits your needs and your wants is what you go with.
I went from LA to the A on the run, you can tell